A few months ago, a patient sat in my clinic with tears in her eyes. She looked at me and said, "Rachel, I snapped at my son yesterday." Then she became very quiet. Finally, she whispered, "That's not who I am." I'm not sure if you ever said those words, maybe not to someone else, but to yourself. After you lost your patience, after you raised your voice, after you react in a way that surprised even yourself, you quietly thought, "That's not who I am." But what if it really isn't? A few days later, you've had a good night's sleep. The pressure eases. You wake up on a quiet Sunday morning. You smile more easily. You listen instead of interrupting. Traffic doesn't bother you as much. The people around you don't seem nearly as difficult. So let me ask you something. Which version is the real you? The exhausted one who snapped, or the rested one who smiles so naturally? Most people assume one is their personality and the other is just a bad day. But what if they are the same person with different amount of energy? Think about your phone. When it's fully charged, you hardly think about the battery. You watch videos, answer messages, take photos. Everything feels normal. But when the battery drops to 5%, everything changes. You turn the brightness down, close unnecessary apps, ignore notifications. Not because your phone became a different phone, but because it no longer has enough power to do everything it was designed to do. We all understand that. But when the same thing happens to a human being, we don't say, "Maybe your battery is running low." We say, "You've changed." Have you ever known someone who used to be patient, warm, curious, and kind, but gradually become impatient, distant, or difficult to live with? Maybe that person was you. Most people think, "I've changed," but what if you haven't? Maybe kindness, patience, curiosity, or compassion don't disappear. Maybe they simply require energy to be expressed. Instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" maybe you should ask, "What's happening to my energy?" A gentleman came to see me because he was exhausted. He wasn't sleeping well. His shoulders were always tight. His patience was disappearing. Then, almost as an afterthought, he quietly said, "I don't feel like myself anymore." That sentence has stayed with me. He wasn't asking me to fix his temper. He was asking where the old him had gone. He wasn't making excuses. He was grieving. Because somewhere inside, he knew the real him was still there. He just couldn't find him anymore. That day, I told him something he had never heard before. What if your body has a battery, just like your phone? Not the battery that keeps your heart beating, I'm talking about the battery that powers your patience, your kindness, your curiosity, your ability to be fully present with another human being. Traditional Chinese medicine had been asking this question for thousands of years. It describes a deeper reserve of energy that supports how we adapt, recover, and show up in the world. Different words, ancient language, but perhaps describing something you've already experienced. Because when those reserves become depleted, sometimes the first thing people lose isn't strength, it's themselves. My patient didn't wake up one morning and suddenly become impatient. It happened so gradually. Neither he nor his family noticed it at first. Life simply kept asking, one more meeting, one more deadline, one more responsibility, one more problem to solve. Every day, his body answered, I can do one more. Until one day, it couldn't. That's when friction began. Relationships don't always break because love disappears. Sometimes the energy required to express that love disappears first. Over the next several months, we worked on restoring his energy. Gradually, his sleep improved, his shoulders relaxed, his patience returned. Then, one day, he came back smiling. I asked, so how are the things at home? He smiled. Then he said something I'll never forget. My wife looked at me, smiled, and quietly said, you're back. She didn't say, you're healthier. She didn't say, your treatment worked. He simply said, you're back. That's when I realized we hadn't created a kinder man. We had restored enough energy for his kindness to become visible again. So I'd like to leave you with one simple thought. The next time you notice yourself becoming more irritable, more reactive, less patient, less curious, less compassionate, before asking, what's wrong with me? Ask a different question. How is my battery? When your phone reaches 5%, you don't criticize it. You recharge it. Maybe we deserve to show ourselves the same wisdom, because sometimes the problem isn't your personality. Sometimes it is your battery. So let me go back to where we began. Have you ever snapped and immediately thought, that's not who I am? Maybe the better question we need to ask is, what happened to the person I know I can be? I still believe kindness is a choice, but today I also believe something else. Sometimes kindness is waiting for enough energy to be expressed. Maybe the patient version of you never disappeared. The gentle version never disappeared. The person your family misses may never disappear at all. Maybe they've simply hidden behind the battery that has been running too low for too long. And that's the hopeful part, because the battery can be recharged, energy can be restored. And when it is, people often don't say, "You look healthier." They simply smile and say, "You're back." Maybe healing isn't becoming someone new. Maybe it's coming home to the person you were always meant to be. So let me leave you with one question. Which relationships in your life might improve if you recharged your own battery first? Please share with me in the comments below. Thank you.